Hey, wrestling fans. Welcome to the One Wing Wrestling Podcast, where we help you navigate the complex world of pro wrestling, bring you the best matches, world class wrestlers, and news you can count on. At One Wing Wrestling, we bring the elite to you. My name is Krishna and joining me, as always, is Mr. Bill Cupbush. Bill, how's it going?
Just took us another sip of this Costco bold coffee here, Kirkland brand. It's really good. No, they do not sponsor our podcast. They really should, though. I'm just throwing
I
that out
was gonna
there,
say,
if
so now you work for Stardom and
and
Costco.
apparently Costco, yes, the
Okay, all right.
Kirkland brand bold coffee is actually quite good. Anyway, yeah, no, it's going. I mean, dude, it is summer here in Toronto now. Remember we
Mm-hmm.
were complaining about all the rain and the snow just like a week ago, and now it's summer. It's just
Yeah,
summer. I don't know what happened.
it switched from winter to summer. Like I mean,
Yeah,
it's we had that crazy storm, rainstorm, I should say, and then suddenly it's
yeah.
summer in the city.
Summer. Yep. I know it's like I'm flying to Victoria next week and it's like flying back into like cold, which is very atypical of flying to Victoria this time of year. So
Well, and I think the forecast for this weather is it's not supposed to stay like this, but I mean,
no, of
but
course not.
it's pleasant. It's a pleasant change. Not having to lug around those heavy jackets, you know, and yeah, not having to worry about driving in the snow.
Yes, that's always a plus. So yeah, no, it's a really beautiful day here. It is a
Mhm.
wonderful day for some professional wrestling. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's Wednesday. You know what that means, right? It's AEW Dynamite. A lot of wrestling news we covered on Monday. I was thinking, I'm like, what day is it? On Monday.
You've already
Um,
lost.
I was like, what day is it? Yeah, just good things, just the thing is, it's not a lot of wrestling news. It's just that there's so many events that are going to be happening shortly with so many wrestlers that we are, clearly interested in. Um,
Yes.
and a lot of outcomes that could happen that may affect out the events that are coming to Toronto, events going to London and stuff like that, right? We're
Events
obviously
happening in Yokohama.
Yokohama, but we're obviously just really excited for the Toronto event that we're going to in a month and a
As we
half.
keep saying.
As we keep saying,
We're going to be a broken
um,
record till June 25th, guys. Get used to it.
it, it is, but like yeah, it's a good day. And I'm doing good.
Yeah, yeah. And in case you hadn't figured it out from Krishna, today is AEW Dynamite. So tonight we will be predicting the show as always, checking out what we like or what we think is going to happen, where we think the matches are going to fall, that fun kind of stuff. We're going to go watch the show, come back, look it over, see what worked, what didn't, any surprise matches that we always get. And most importantly, did anything on the show reach that all important Omega level?
Hmm.
And I just want to clarify for those of you who may be Marvel fans, when we say Omega level, we are not referring to Omega level X-Men. We are referring to the god of wrestling himself, Kenny Omega. Just in case any of you X-Men fans were confused over our use of the term Omega level. So,
Yes, exactly. It's Kenny Omega, not
yes,
not
very
Kenny Omega.
clearly, yes.
Yeah,
Okay. So, shall we get into tonight's card, Krishna?
let's do it.
Okay. Well, tonight Dynamite will come to us from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I swear to God, I can't say it without thinking Alice Cooper from the UWM Panther Arena, and we have MJF making a mandatory appearance.
Yeah, I mean, this is just going to this is further along the four pillars storyline that's been ongoing. Like as I said, the week 2 weeks ago, it was Jungle Boy, right? Last week it was Sammy. And lo and behold, this week it's Darby. Imagine that, right? So yeah, it's gonna be like again, MGF by himself, meh, take it or leave it, not for me. But with these other three guys, these guys are awesome. I just want to figure out what's happening and kind of like where the status of this match is gonna be. Are they gonna have four separate matches? Are they gonna have a four-way? Hey, you know what? You can have actually all of the above and still make it work, right?
Yep.
But yeah, I'm more excited about the other three than MGF himself.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see this being anything special, anything
Mhm.
unique, anything different. It's doing is making sure MJF gets some TV time because he brings ratings.
Yep.
And because you and I are apparently the only two people on the face of the planet who don't think he's amazing. Um, which is fine. I will continue to stick to my guns. I enjoy standing alone when necessary. But MJF, yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean, once in a blue moon, he comes out with something that's decent. I'm not going to say he's always bad because there's been a couple times in the last few weeks where I've been like, hey, he was pretty good. He was pretty good. I really enjoyed that. But then there was last week that if it hadn't been for the announce team, I would have wanted to poke my eyes out with a pencil. So, we get both things. You're right, though. The thing that intrigues me most is who's coming out. How are they going to interrupt? What is their promo going to be like? Because I'm really intrigued about the three pillars right now that are up against him.
Yeah.
How are they going to pull this match out? What are we going to see at the pay-per-view coming out? Is it going to be a four-way?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm interested too. We'll see what happens with that. We also have the TNT Championship Open Challenge. Powerhouse Hobbs, the champion, is taking on Silas Young.
Who is Silas Young? Like,
He
did I
is
miss this?
a ROH wrestler, I believe.
Yeah. So
I've seen him wrestle before. He's quite good. He's tough.
okay.
He's one of
So
those
so
very tough
I
guys.
I have no expectations for this match, even though I've been pretty impressed with like Hobbs matches recently. But that's because he's fought like Ray Phoenix, which was an awesome match. Penta and stuff like that. Those are great matches. So I mean, like, yeah, I have zero expectations, but I'm looking down the list of the card tonight, right? And we
Mhm.
have how many matches? We have one, two, three, four, five. Five matches,
Six.
right? And
Six.
I'm looking at is it six?
It is
Yeah.
six.
Okay, six matches today. And I'm looking at them, I'm like, you know, there's some matches here that I'm interested in, some that I'm not, some that I'm like, I don't know how these two are gonna do on the ring. And this falls into one of those, I don't know how these two are gonna do in the ring, right? So it can
Right.
fall in the bottom three is what I'm trying to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna slot this in as one of the bottom three. So I'll choose a number, and I'm gonna choose it as number five.
Okay.
I'm choosing number five. Yeah, number five. Just
Yep.
strictly on the basis that I think it's gonna be one of the bottom three
Yep.
matches tonight. But again, number five. I'll put it as like that.
Yep. Well, Silas Young is the last real man. That's his gimmick.
All right.
So, yep. And he was in ROH for a very long time. I was correct. And he did wrestle Hangman Adam Page in June
Mhm.
2022 on Dynamite.
Okay.
And I do remember that. I know
Okay.
we've seen him before in Dynamite, but it's like a one-time appearance sort of thing. So yeah, this is my number six match.
Okay.
Because I just two big men slapping meat and like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I like Powerhouse Hobbs when he kind of does the stuff against a guy who's a little smaller and the match can get going faster. I have a feeling this is going to be kind of slow and plodding.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure these guys will both be athletic enough, but by today's standards, I mean, man, if this match happened in like 1985, it would probably be match of the night. But you know, for 2022, yeah,
Yeah. Same.
that's my whole commentary in the match. Yeah, Keith Lee taking on Chris Jericho.
This is the one I'm actually slotting in at number six. Another match that I'm just not interested in. I like Keith Lee. Obviously, I love Jericho. I just don't know how they're gonna do in a match to against each other. Like this is a match I just don't care about, right? So again,
Mm-hmm.
another match I don't care about. And as I said, the bottom three are interchangeable. So sure, Keith Lee versus Chris Jericho. I'd rather see Chris Jericho in a different feud. Keith Lee just randomly appeared last week to challenge Jericho. So I'm like,
Yes.
okay, sure, whatever. But
You know
again,
what I think it is?
mhm.
Chris Jericho is hogging the bottle of Grecian formula, and Keith Lee wants it. I can say that because I'm old enough, like I'm Jericho's age, and if I grew a beard, I would look an awful lot like Keith Lee. Um, but yeah, no, it's clearly I I really don't care about this match either.
Hmm.
But because I know both guys better and I know they're wrestling better, this is
Hmm.
my number 5 match. Because
Okay,
I'm like,
so
I think that they're going to put on at least like a match that I will enjoy. And of course, the JAS. I mean, there's going to be some,
hopefully, yeah,
sports entertainment shenanigans. So I'm hoping Sammy comes out with them or something. So yeah, we need some JAS ringside on this one. So yeah.
agreed.
Yep. Um, then we have Riho and Sky Blue taking on the Outcasts, represented by Ruby Soho and Toni Storm.
So my number 4 match. Again, I this is a match where I'm like, yeah, the storyline is still going. They've lost me a few times, like things I just don't care about. Rio's good. Sky Blue is getting better. She's getting better. She's better than she was when she started. Ruby's good, and as I said, Toni Storm looked great on Dark the other night, right? So, this could be a very good match. It's just that I'm looking at the other 3 matches on the card, and I'm like, I don't know if they're gonna beat those 3 matches, but
Yeah.
this is like on any other night maybe moves up, but this
Mhm.
probably will be slotted in number 4 and probably stay there.
Yeah, I also have slaughtered at 4. I think, but you know what? I think it's going to be good.
Mhm.
Like Riho against either of the women across the ring from her should be good. Like I no longer think Toni Storm is terrible. So
Yeah.
she's gotten her wheels back under her again. Ruby Soho is solid in the ring. Sky Blue is getting there. She has her moments, and she works her ass off. So I'll give her
Mhm.
that much. And there's nowhere to go for her but up.
Yeah.
Right. So I have every bit of faith that this will be a decent match. What I really hope it does is progress the damn plot.
Yes,
Like,
I
for the
know.
love of God, progress the damn plot. Oh, like there's only so many times it can be like, and then the armies clashed and they went back to their camps. And then the armies clashed and they went back to their camps. And then the armies, I mean, for
Yeah.
God's sake, someone win or do something. Anyway, it's bad story writing at this point. Then we have Swerve Strickland taking on Darby Allin.
So I'm slotting this one, and again, the top 3 again can be interchangeable
Mm-hmm.
as well. I'm slotting this one in at number 2
Ooh.
because I think Swerve is Omega level here. We're here. He's an elite wrestler. Darby's fantastic. I love Darby
Mm-hmm.
Allin too. These two have a chance of stealing the show tonight. And that's why I'm hesitant to slot 2, but I've just slotted in at 2.
Yep.
I'm just excited to see what they can do. Like
Yeah,
like I
hell yeah.
I like these guys going at each other. Like this is gonna be awesome. I can't wait to see Swerve versus Darby. Again, potential match of the night.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And in fact, I have picked it as my number 1.
Okay,
Yep.
fair enough. Yeah.
I looked at it and I went back and forth and back and forth and went,
Hmm.
no, I think this is going to be match of the night. I think that Swerve and Darby are going to steal the show. Um, I think that this will open the show,
Okay.
and I think it
Okay.
will be a very hard match to follow.
Okay.
Um, I think that these 2 guys in a ring, it's just going to be insane, right? And they know each other pretty well, both having done their wrestling on the West Coast. So
Mm.
both regular appearances at Defy Wrestling. So interesting. I think it'll be a very good match. Then we have Orange Cassidy, the champion, taking on Buddy Matthews for the AEW International Championship.
So this is the match I slotted in at number 1 match of the night. I
Mm-hmm.
think we got a glimpse of what these two could do in their the tag match, but we didn't really get much from it, right? Buddy Matthews is an exceptional wrestler. This guy is elite, but they never let him really do much, right?
Right.
Unless he's fighting on pay-per-view or something like that, right? So I'm hoping like we get like a Pac showing here from Matthews. That's what I'm hoping for. And if we get that with Cassidy, like that's why I kind of said like this match can steal the night, and that's why I chose it as my match of the night. So yeah, that's why I think these guys can do it. But again, I'm not putting anything past Strickland and Allin.
Yep. No, I agree with you 100%. Let's just flip the 2 around, right? For me, I picked Strickland and
Mhm.
Allin. Matthews and Cassidy could easily be the match of the night. Easily,
Yeah.
right? It's so hard to pick between these 2 because you've got 4 incredible wrestlers going at it tonight. I mean, the one thing that we are in no short supply of in AEW most weeks is incredible wrestling. And I mean,
Yeah.
I can't see this being anything but. The question is, does Matthews take the title? And I'm going to say yes.
Ooh. House of Black with the trios title and the international title. Interesting. Um, oh man. I would love Matthew's League title. I would love that. Um, that would be kind of nuts, right? Matthews has 2 belts, but I think Cassidy loses his belt in a pay-per-view.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Well, see, my thinking is it's a low enough title. You've
Mhm.
got to give title changes
You
occasionally on your
do.
shows
You
because if you
do.
don't, people will just assume every title match is a gimme out of the gate.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
Cassidy's had the belt a long time now.
Mm-hmm.
He's defended it a number of times. This is a new champion, right? Someone who can shine, someone who like will do really well with the opportunity, I think. And there's a lot of good young talent that could face him, like a Darius Martin, for example,
Yeah.
who will need something to do singles now, or Juice. Well, no, Juice is a heel too, but I guess if he's
I
starting to
feel,
wrestle
yeah,
face,
I feel Pac needs to come back and take this belt,
yeah, Pac versus
right?
Matthews. I mean, just take my
Yeah.
money now, please.
Yeah, he needs to come back and take this belt because he's the perfect heel. And it's not even a heel, it's just he's just Pac,
Yeah.
right? And he doesn't care who he fights, he'll fight anybody. And he's absolutely amazing. So yeah.
But you're saying he needs that belt to defend the international championship at Wembley Stadium.
Ooh, if you want Pac on the show, why not?
Yep,
There you go.
exactly. Someday we're gonna have our fantasy book the
I
next
know.
few pay-per-views show. Um, okay, so that brings us to Blackpool Combat Club, John Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli versus the Elites, Brandon Cutler and Michael Nakazawa.
Yeah. So my number 3 match, I'm hoping for elite stuff in this match, as in the elite, because again, if you watched the past being the elite, Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson, they both took off their uh items that were basically, well, Matt took off his arm brace for his bicep, and Nick took off his shoulder brace. And as Brian Danielson was yelling to Paige that no one loves him, they left, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like not Knack and Cutler are gonna get absolutely destroyed in this match. Like I'm gonna be shocked if they get any offense in. I'd be shocked if there's a match that happens here tonight, right? But they're gonna get destroyed. This is gonna push the storyline forward. They're gonna get saved by Hangman's gonna come out again. He's gonna come out once again because it's Hangman to help. But at the end, it's going to be it's going to be the Bucks being coming out for the save. It's funny. I read something the other day about the setup, about how Danielson kept saying love, 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 right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were saying this showdown is going to be about trying to prove to Kenny that they love him because they turned their back on him, right? Hangman
Mm-hmm.
turned his back, the Bucks turned their back, but now they need his help, right? So I'm like, that's interesting. I'm like, that would be an amazing 4-on-4, which is really what's getting set up here, right? But it's very interesting because being the elite showed Nick and Matt.
Yes.
They spoke nothing about Kenny
Or
during
or
that,
Hangman.
or Hangman, yeah, during that thing, right? So
Yes. Well, I mean, Hangman was getting beaten down in the ring.
he's
Yeah.
getting beaten down, right? So I'm very curious where, like, these are the storylines. Like they leave it kind of open, and you're curious what's gonna happen next. Like, hey, if Hangman goes, let's say if Hangman walks out tonight, gets beaten up again, and nothing happens, I'm gonna have the same response I have about the Outcast versus like
Yeah, exactly.
it's like, so where are we going with this
Yeah,
exactly, right?
100%.
But we need something to happen tonight. So
Yep. And
I'm hoping for big things.
you're talking about love, and there are two people that understand love very well, and those are the Golden
The
Lovers.
golden lovers. That's true. That's very
I'm
true.
just telling you that they understand what love is, and it would not surprise me a whole hell of a lot if we got the safe, because they've almost got the valet split perfectly too, right? Like Brandon Cutler's kind of with the Bucks, and Michael Nakazawa's really with Kenny,
Kenny. Mm-hmm.
right? And so like, what would happen if, say, Don Callis sends to the ring Konosuke Takeshita and Kota Ibushi?
Listen, I would be 100% behind that. If Ibushi, Kota Ibushi and Takeshita show up to defend Kenny,
Mm-hmm.
like if they're there for Kenny, you go back to everything. Remember, Matt was about to send Kenny that video. He's like, you need to see this video, and he never sent it.
Yep.
This is building to more than we think it's building,
and
right?
then you've got 3 trios involved.
Exactly.
Right?
You don't have 2, you have 3.
Yes.
And the end goal is for the Elite to win Kenny back, but he has all right to be upset about what's happened, right? Because he did nothing to deserve what happened to him. So listen, those are amazing storylines. Those are amazing things that AEW can do. With hopefully they do. Hopefully they do. And I'm not saying this because again I'm fantasy booking, but if everyone is predicting what's going to happen at Allin, right, which they're saying to sell all of the tickets, you need to bring somebody back. Fine. Well, guess what? We have a lot of time to fill in between that, right?
We have a card called Forbidden Door. Yeah. Before that, we have a card called Double or Nothing.
And I would love to see this. I would love to see because let's say I'm going to say this: if you need Kenny, if you're going to do that match, the FTR CM Punk, you need Kenny and the Bucks versus FTR and CM Punk to have that match. So you need to have some of these things kind of resolved. Like what happens with Hangman? What happens? Like, there's so many things, right? Hey, great, that's great, but I think AEW is just getting stronger and stronger right now. Like, listen, I wasn't impressed with the Jay White's introduction, but hey, Jay White might be on the show tonight, right?
Well, speaking of which, where the hell is Jay White on this card?
That's what I mean. Jay White would
I know it's ridiculous. I mean, like, look, whether we think he's the most stunning wrestler in the world, the guy can cut a solid promo, very good on the mic, and he's a good wrestler. He might not be the most amazing thing in the entire universe, but he's good. And you put him in a faction where he can work well with a guy like Juice Robinson and potentially, perhaps one day soon, El Phantasmo. That will be stellar stuff. And I mean, we'll be like, you know how we weren't that thrilled with Jay White coming and now we think he's freaking amazing? Yeah, it'll be one of those. You watch.
Like, we are dumb. We apologize.
Yes, exactly. But okay, so I made the mistake of looking at the comments under the Instagram post for today's card on the AEW Instagram. And if I just want to appeal to Tony Khan for a minute. I just want to thank you for not booking according to your Instagram comments. That's all I have to say. Because if those are to be believed, they said this is a terrible card. Too much Orange Cassidy. I mean, as if the guy gets more TV time, right? Like as if he needs more TV time. They want Miro and Andrade. I got news for you guys. Those of you who commented all this stuff, there is a company for you. They air on Monday nights and Friday nights. You will love their wrestling. You will love their booking. I suggest you might want to go check them out. In the meantime, those of us who want to watch freaking amazing ass wrestling will watch AEW and be happy to watch Orange Cassidy taking on Buddy Matthews in what is going to be one hell of a match on a card full of like, when your worst possible match you can think of is a match that would be match of the night in the 80s. I'm like, there's your card. Like when we talk about these 4, 5, and 6 matches, it's very rare we go, that match sucked, right? Usually it's like, it was good. It was fine. Right? But I mean, in this day and age, that's something else. I mean, the caliber of wrestling we get in AEW, we are so spoiled.
Yeah.
You know.
Did you see Sean Ross Sapp's post earlier today?
Nope.
It basically what you were talking about earlier with CM Punk. He said CM Punk has told AEW in recent months that he wants to return to the company. He's expressed the willingness to work in a number of ways, including the Elites. And he also said today on on his show, that he knows right now the Bucks and Omega are actually in negotiations with AEW. So if you're the Bucks and Omega, what do you say, right? Right to this kind of thing. Like, do you want to work in this like, listen, I'm gonna go on record saying they're gonna sign. There's no like Tony Khan is letting them go at this point. Like there's just too much stuff they can do, right? So hey, listen, I'm all about good storylines. I think, listen, anywhere you work, you want the drama, you want all that negativity out of there. So if Punk comes back, great. If he doesn't, I fully get it as well. I fully understand, right? But there's as people keep saying, there's a lot of money to be made. There's a lot of storylines to be told. So Let's see how Tony Khan in the next upcoming months handles his company. Let's see what happens here.
Yes, and I mean they've been doing well recently, I
Mm-hmm.
think. I mean they've been
Mm-hmm.
handling everything pretty well from my
Yep.
point of view. The booking's gotten better. Things are we're more excited. We're doing more fantasy booking and stuff again rather than complaining. So I mean things have been looking up recently. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But we have a dynamite to get through
We
before
do.
we can get to any of that. So
It's
you want to
true.
go watch this dynamite?
Let's go watch it.
Okay. We will be back, though, as I always say, it will seem like we never left. And that was AEW Dynamite. And it came from us this week, like we mentioned before, from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, from the UWM Panthers Arena. We have Taz, Toni, and Excalibur on commentary, of course. And we open, as I would like to point out, I predicted, with Darby Allin taking on Swerve Strickland. And Darby opens like right out of the gate with an over the top stunner and tope suicida. He sets up for the coffin drop, but Swerve rolls to the floor to no avail since Darby just transitions to a moonsault dive to the floor. But Swerve soon catches him and they brawl around ringside. Darby tosses Swerve into the guardrail and then a coffin splash against the barricade. But Swerve trips him on the steps and yanks him down so his back and head bounce down the stairs. Back in the ring, Swerve takes Darby's belt off and whips him. Aubrey yells at him, but this apparently is not a DQ. It's just worthy of ref scolding. Darby trips Swerve, though, but the comeback is short lived. He eats a spinning back heel kick. Swerve then uses Darby's chain across his mouth, which actually busts him open inside his mouth, followed by a switch kick for two. Darby crawls to the apron, but Swerve kicks him and then springboard stomps him to the floor. Swerve seemed to twist his ankle though on the way down, and that becomes part of the story of this match because Swerve puts on an armbar back in the ring, yanks on Darby's bleeding mouth, but Swerve is clearly hurting, does a little hop into the corner when he goes to do a move. He puts Darby into the torture rack though and drops to his knees 3 times with him on his back before releasing him and pinning him for two. Swerve puts a waist lock though on Darby until Darby gets to his feet. Swerve hits a flatliner, nice one, and heads to the top, but Darby catches him, hanging him and ripping off his boot before biting his foot to a "you sick fuck" chant. Darby then puts on a knee bar while twisting Swerve's foot. Swerve finally gets up and goes for a German, but Darby blocks. Swerve catches a coffin drop attempt into a German suplex, but Darby reverses the follow-up vertical into a cutter, and both are down. Darby returns to the knee bar again until Swerve reaches the ropes. Darby goes to the top, but Swerve catches him, gets him in the electric chair, but Darby reverses into a poison Rana from the apron to a holy shit chant, and my jaw is on the floor. He rolls Swerve back in the ring, hits the coffin drop, but Prince Nana puts Swerve's foot on the ropes. Darby goes after Nana, but Brian Cage intercepts. Darby then runs back to the ring, but Swerve drills him with a kick and he hits a double stomp, but collapses due to his ankle, delaying the cover and only gets a two. Swerve goes for the JML driver, but Darby then just stomps his foot. Cage trips him, prompting Aubrey then to throw the Mogul Embassy out. Swerve gets a chair, but Darby disarms him, hits the code red for two, but then locks on the Last Supper for the win. What'd you think, Krishna?
This match was great. No, like I mean, Swerve and Darby, they are just fantastic. The way they work, the way they sell. Like that's the thing. Like today, like they had like two really great matches, and again, I'm just going back and forth with the 1A, 1B, one like either one. I thought this match was absolutely fantastic. Like the whole thing is that tonight had some payoff in terms of like storylines as we were talking about, and we'll get to that. But also kind of like, the purpose, right? So here's my thing. I'm still gonna rank this match my number two. This match is fantastic. Go out, watch it. I don't know how this helps Swerve in any way. You know what I mean? Like you could have given Darby anybody. Why Swerve? Like, why do we need to see Swerve lose? Right? I feel like this is just an ongoing thing. Like Darby beats everybody. And I love Darby Allin. I get it. Remember, Darby ran through the entire House of Black, basically, right? And I get Tony Khan, like he loves this guy, and we're gonna find out why he loves this guy. This guy's just awesome. But I do, like as much as I love this match, I hate. Maybe it's my love for Swerve. I hate to seeing Swerve lose like this for no reason. But yeah, no, this match was fantastic, and I'm harping too much on this. Like I'm just nitpicking at this point, right? Because that poison Rana off the top, onto the floor, I'm like, very few people could pull that off, right? Very
Yep.
few people could land that. Swerve is one of those people who could actually like sell that move. Swerve, Kenny, probably Phoenix, couple guys, right? And make it look like, oh my God, that is crazy, but I feel he's safe. And we're gonna talk about safe things later on as well. But yeah, no, I love this match was fantastic. Great match. I'm going on too much. This match was great.
It's okay. You're allowed to go on about great matches, and this match was great.
Yeah.
This is my number 1B.
Awesome. Yeah. See, that's what I
I'm
said.
gonna mark it 1B
Yeah.
because I think that's the only fair way to do it. This match was great. I
Yeah.
enjoyed this match thoroughly. Let's take a minute. You know, these guys are high flyers, blah blah. Let's
Mhm.
talk about Swerve selling. I mean,
Amazing.
man, that foot. He did such a
Hmm.
good job with that foot. You know, just the fact that even when he hit the double stop off the rope and he just collapses. All right. Like he
The
can't
part
get
where
the
he
cover.
tried to like he backed up into the rope and he tried to jump up and he couldn't.
Yeah.
And that little delay and he kind of just steps out of the ring. You're like, I was like, what? A
Yep.
small little detail, but it added so much.
Yeah, and even during the commercial break, he was still like little hops into the corner and stuff, and just you could tell
Okay.
like he was shaking the foot out to try to get it back. That was right after he had first quote unquote injured it. But yeah, it was brilliantly done, right? Like the whole match was put together well. Really solid match. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Recommend it highly, and it
Yep.
is my number 1B match of the night. And I had said this would be my match of the night, but it was not. So yeah. Well, MJF comes out immediately after the match and they go to commercial.
That's right. I
Yep.
forgot.
And this was a full on commercial break. We
Yep.
also went to commercial on Fight. It went black. After the commercial, they're both in the ring now. He addresses Allin in the ring. He tells him he had an incredible match, especially since his daddy Sting wasn't out here. He goes, I know you're great. At Full Gear 2021, we had one of the best matches in pro wrestling history. Even though you're a shitty little emo schmuck, you're one of the best people I've stood across from in the ring. But I beat you with a headlock takeover. I remember.
Mm-hmm.
And you think you can take the triple B, you're not on the level of the devil. Ooh, he rhymes. Then Darby says, are you happy, Max? Has anything you've ever done made you happy? I met you 6 years ago wrestling in front of 30 people. You said when you reached TV and were a champion, all your problems would be solved. Well, you're exactly the same. I wasted my time after that chasing material things. You know, in my first year of AEW, I went to therapy because I didn't want to seem happy on the outside and dead on the inside. It didn't matter about my success. It mattered that my family and close ones were living beautiful lives. I started giving back. I bought my parents a house and helped my dad retire. This is just a 15-minute ride, Max. I refuse to get off the ride and wonder who I led into my life. I'm not like you. I won't lower my morals just to be somebody in this world. So if you have something to say, keep talking. And the crowd starts chanting Darby. MJF says, you're an arrogant little boy. You think you're special? You think you don't have to go through everything we all have to do get to the top? I'm sick of you whining. Morals kill careers in this sport. You act like a daredevil, but you're a gutless coward. You don't have the balls to sacrifice what must be sacrificed. I know I could end up on my deathbed alone. I don't care because as long as the championship comes with me, that's all that matters. That's the difference between me, you, and the other two pillars. But not you. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to leave a legacy in this sport. MJF, the greatest of all time. Your legacy will be Darby Allin, Sting's bitch. And Sting's music hits. We are now at the 30-minute mark
Yep.
into the show, just as a point of interest. Max, what's all this daddy daycare talk? It offends me. I'm not a daycare kind of guy. I'm more like a cheerleader. He pulls out a pom pom. I've got a fever, and the only cure is more pom poms. He keeps pulling out pom poms. The crowd chants pom poms. If you think I've lost my mind, I have not. This happened. It seems like I offended you. I'll stop if you stop this Cody daycares. Oh, I said Cody, and the truth hurts. You had a support system in Cody. I'm the support system for Darby, and a young Sting had a support system too, Ric Flair. And he goes on about Rick for a bit. And from there, we evolved into Crow Sting and a little Wolfpack Sting. And he says hi to Kevin and throws one up to Scott Hall. And I guess it's obvious now I still have a little Joker left in me. But what I don't have is hunger for the title. I'll be real. Showtime is almost over. But Showtime is just getting started for Darby Allin. Max, mark my words, Darby Allin will become AEW's World Heavyweight Champion. I promise you, it is showtime. And Darby says, this fake plastic world isn't taking me alive. I'm also leaving as a man who ends this reign of terror and becomes the next AEW champion. MJF spits in his face and leaves.
Yeah, no, this is a good segment. Like, I like this segment. No talk about bidding wars or anything like that. Interesting. It's all about who wants, like, MJF is all about setting like a legacy. Like, even he's, as he said, like, even if I die, don't you think I know I might die alone, and but what he kept going. So yeah, this was interesting. Darby kind of like, I don't know, I kind of feel like Darby's gonna take this belt just the way that he's getting hyped up, right? Just that's like he fully gets it. He knows how to speak. Like, you can tell, like, AEW is it for him. That's it. He doesn't need to go anywhere. Like, he's set. And they've made such a huge baby face. Well, I don't think they made it. Like, he's been a baby face since the beginning, basically, right? So they just keep increasing his star. Like, and he is one of the major four pillars. And it's weird because you look at these, like, you look at all four of these guys, and you look at Jungle Boy, and you're like, this is the guy who's going to be the biggest out of all four of them. Yeah, Max is getting the push. I get it. But there's something about Darby that I can't shake. He's like he's the underdog that you want to cheer for, right? And that's why I have a feeling he's gonna win that belt. I'm not saying he's gonna win it right now, but I have a feeling he's taking that belt from MJF soon.
You know what it is with Darby? I mean, first of all, yeah, I agree. This segment was great. I really enjoyed this. MJF cut the exact right promo he needed to cut. It was well done. You understand his motivation. He doesn't give a damn about anything but that belt, and he's going to do everything in his power to keep that championship, right? Which is probably how he's going to end up beating Darby and them, right? Because he's going to do anything to win, to keep that championship. Whereas, as he said, Darby and them won't. They have morals, and the morals weaken them. It's like perfect villain 101 stuff, right? But it was so well delivered, so well done. But Darby, you know why Darby comes across so well? Because he's so freaking honest, and it shows. He is just Darby Allin. You know, like, there's no one else sitting there. It's Darby Allin. And when you hear him talk, the honesty comes out. He never sounds like he's reading a bunch of lines. You know, it just sounds like he's talking like he's Darby Allin. You know, he sits there going, yeah, I went to therapy for the first year here because I didn't want to turn into this guy. I made a bunch of mistakes before. I mean, he's so honest. He admits his flaws, and he says, you know, and what he's done, he wants to give back, but he also is determined to become the AEW champion, right? I mean, he's like Captain Nice Guy, but with an edge, and he's absolutely nuts in the ring.
He's crazy. He's so good.
Yeah. Sting's promo was really good too, though.
Good.
I mean, I really thought he did a good job. I mean, pom poms aside, which, you know, was still mildly amusing, but you know, I mean, it didn't seem too out of place. But yeah, I mean, I thought he did a good job too.
Calling out Cody, like, great, call it out. Like no one called it out before, right? Because when MGF did it, and he's like, Cody, yeah, you had Cody. He's like, oh, I said Cody. Imagine that, right? Though they use Cody in a promo later on, but like,
yes,
I thought Sting's promo was perfect, absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised if Sting, his final match is against Darby Allin. I would not be surprised if that happened, right? So,
yeah. In all likelihood, I mean, it's like Himika facing Micah on the retirement road as her last match in Stardom, right?
That's right.
Exactly. I got a reference in. Yes.
Sting needs to go on a retirement tour.
I think so. I like these. To be honest, the more I've watched this retirement tour, and I'm digressing, so I'll get back on track, the more I think retirement tours are a great idea. But anyway, so this segment was solid. Didn't bother me at all. A lot more than I expected out of MJF tonight. And then we get Powerhouse Hobbs taking on, already in the ring, Silas Young. Hobbs hits him with a spine buster early, then he hits Town Business for 3, and that's your match. I'll get to the aftermatch after the match.
Yeah, exactly what I thought was going to happen. Just a squash match. So really not even a match. That's why I said this one was going to be my number 6 match. I just didn't understand what was going on, right? So yeah, it can say at number 6 because it really wasn't even a match. Like, he just went in, crushed him. And then like I guess it's more the aftermath that we need to talk about because the
Yeah,
match
of
was a
course.
big
Yeah, we'll
deal.
talk about the aftermath in a bit, but Krishna, I gave this my number 5 match. I'll
Oh,
just let
okay.
you chew on that for
Okay.
the night,
Okay.
okay?
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
this was my number 5 match.
All
I
right.
thought there was a match on this card that was worse than
Wars.
this match.
Okay.
Worse than a quick squash of Silas Young by Powerhouse
All
Hobbs.
right. Okay. Fair enough.
Yep.
Fair enough. Okay.
But then we see in the back, there's a video thrown up. There's cameras in the back.
Mhm.
Wardlow is trashing Hobbs' new car. It has a custom paint job, don't you know? And according to the announcers, Hobbs loves his car. This is a tragedy, Krishna. It is a massive tragedy. Wardlow beats up a car. Then he gets a forklift that someone left the keys in weirdly and uses it to tip the car over. Hobbs is very angry. But then Wardlow leaves the forklift running because who cares about the property of the arena that they're at? And then Wardlow's music hits. He and Hobbs brawl. Wardlow beats up a whole bunch of grunts that come out. Then he puts Aaron Solo through a table and he leaves.
Yeah. Wardlow's back, I guess. Okay, great. They're gonna continue this storyline that which kind of ended, but then I don't know what they're doing with Wardlow, to be completely honest with you. I don't get it. Um, sure, I guess the fans that love Wardlow, okay. This segment did nothing for me. What I did have a
Krishna,
problem
I'm
with.
shocked. He trashed Hobbs'
I know his
car,
car.
Krishna.
It's like remember. So remember when Hobbs says to the guy, better make sure nothing happens to this. All I can remember was in Simpsons where McBain is talking to that guy, and he's like, it's his last day, retirement, and he shows him his boat, the Never Die or something like that, or
Yeah.
Live Forever, and then all of a sudden like he reaches over and gets shot immediately. That's what I thought about when I saw that. I'm like, okay, this is a segment. This is gonna be a WB style segment, right?
Yeah.
My issue with this segment is the power bomb to Aaron Solo. AEW needs to stop doing this because if
Yes.
you see the way Solo took that power bomb, his
Yeah.
head, I say grazed, smashed through the side of the second
Yep.
table. I was like, you concussed this guy. You've literally just concussed
Yeah.
this guy.
So you do it to Anna Jay
Yep.
and you miss a table completely, but then you decide it's still a good
It's
idea to
okay.
powerbomb
It's
people
okay.
off stages.
Bad call. This was just so unnecessary. It's such an absolute bad call. And I was like, AW, why are you not learning? I get it. These wrestlers are agreeing to this because guess what? This is their livelihood, and Aaron Solo probably will do anything just to be on TV, right? Which is unfortunately the way it is. Don't do this. You could have easily had Wardlow just have a table somewhere, right on the ramp, on anywhere, and just powerbomb him there. Just
Yep.
powerbomb him there. Because if you watch Wardlow's powerbomb, he puts some force into it.
Yeah, it's not like he even like lays back. He like
No,
whips dudes into stuff. And
so yeah,
yeah, I
didn't like
saw that
that.
and I was like, holy crap. Only the first table broke and his head hit the
Yup.
back of the second table. So again, it's another miss. He cleared the 2 tables with him. Like, I don't know what to say about these people who should never be
Yeah,
doing these moves because they're way too inexperienced.
agreed.
You know,
I
if you're
fully
if you're
agree.
gonna do spots, and but then again, I'm about to say that, and then I stop and go, wait a second. Pentagon Jr. is one of the most experienced wrestlers in
Yeah,
AEW that way, right? Tons of high stuff. And still Dante Martin got injured. So, you
and
know.
it's and you're right. And I go back to that match too. Remember, I said it.
Mm-hmm.
Was it necessary to do that move?
Right.
Right?
Yep.
It wasn't. You could have had a great match.
No.
In this, you could have had a great spot. You didn't need to do that, right?
Correct.
So AEW, please just learn from these things. Don't just stop it. Just
Yeah.
stop it.
Yeah. I know. It's just, you know, you don't need spots like that. Like you're
No.
right. Power bombing him on the ramp would have been good enough.
Yeah.
You know,
Agreed.
he power bombs him on the ramp and lays him out. We'd all believe it. We know his power bombs are deadly. End of story. It
That's
doesn't
it.
need to be yet another poor dude smashed through a missed table. You know, that's 2 times now, AEW. 2 times.
2 times.
That's
Yeah.
2 times too many.
Agreed. Agreed. Again, you go back to this spot with Swerve and Darby.
Mhm.
Right? Look how dangerous that move is, the Poison Rana, and they landed it perfectly.
Yes.
Right? So again, you have 2 very experienced wrestlers, And then you have, I'm not going to say Solo's not experienced, but you have wrestlers not that experienced. And look what happened.
Right.
Right.
And as a point too, it's like one is a move. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no weapons
Yeah.
involved. It's a move. It's just they both know where each other's supposed to be and where they're supposed to go. But
Mhm.
you involve a table and you involve somebody overthrowing tables. Because that's happened twice in the damn same
Yeah.
spot in the
Same
arena.
spot.
They've overthrown the table.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then we get Jay White and Juice Robinson. And they show before that, they show a history of the Bullet Club and they show Cody and Kenny, among others. And you hear Switchblade say that they've never had two better than Switchblade Jay White and Rock Hard Juice Robinson. And Juice says, Ricky, you've bitten off more than you can chew. How'd that Blade Runner feel? And Jay's like, the catalyst is here to claim what's rightfully his. This will be the best era of Bullet Club ever because this is Bullet Club Gold.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that name, Bullet Club Gold. I like the segment. This is what they could have done last week when he came, beat up Ricky. They left him lying there. They could have easily done this promo. Jay White's great on the mic.
Yes.
He's great on the mic. Just let the guy talk. Who cares? Right?
Yep.
And this is what I mean. Like I'm glad they did something, but like just have him there. He was there. He could have easily cut something as good as this, right? Hey, Bullet Club Gold. I'm in, man. I like that name. So
yep.
Yeah.
They can counter the Rebel Club in New Japan with David Finlay heading it up.
Oh yeah.
He calls it the Rebel Club.
So basically he's kind of disbanded the Bullet Club.
No, that's his name for the Bullet Club.
Oh, his faction of the Bullet Club.
Yes.
So this is like NWO red and black, or red versus red. Yeah, red.
Don't forget there are also sub factions within the Bullet Club. For instance, the House of Torture.
Oh, that is correct. That is correct.
You know, the winners of my worst faction of the year award last year. Oh, House of Torture. Anyway, yeah, Bullet Club Gold. I like it. I like Switchblade Jay White. I love Juice Robinson with them. It is so good.
So good.
Juice is just such a you know, I don't know how to put it. He's that guy who hangs out with the leader that you just want to like smack around.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's great. Awesome. I love him. Well, then we get Orange Cassidy taking on Buddy Matthews for the AEW International Championship, the match Krishna said was going to be his match of the night. They both sit in their corners for a bit to a very light "This is wrestling" chant. Whoever started that chant, I'm like, you guys rock, man. You guys rock. They go at it when Cassidy goes for the hands. He tries to put his hands in his pockets. They have a high-speed exchange, ending in Cassidy hitting a Hurricane Rana, sending Matthews out of the ring. Cassidy then puts his hands in his pockets, drop kicks Matthews out of the ring again, and then a tope to the floor. But Matthews catches the diving crossbody, but Orange Cassidy reverses the power slam attempt into a Hurricane Rana, lands a DDT and Orange Punch. But Matthews rolls under the rope and Cassidy screams when he hits the Orange Punch, grabbing his injured hand, which was all taped up, and he's in pain. So he's over in the corner. Doctor's checking it. Doctor takes the tape off to check the hand, but then Matthews runs over and stomps the hand. So Cassidy rolls outside. Matthews pursues and just starts to work over the hand, smashing it into the steps. The best friends come out, but Cassidy sends them to the back. Matthews returns to working the hand, stomping it into the steps, standing on the hand on top of the turnbuckle attachment, sliding the fingers into the turnbuckle winder. Cassidy screaming to get him off. Cassidy finally beats him back for a bit, goes for a DDT off the top. He goes for a running DDT, but Matthews counters. Cassidy then slams Matthews' head into the turnbuckles, running him on the apron. He goes to the top, but on the jump, Matthews kicks him in the jaw. Cassidy's responds with a thrust kick on the apron. Cassidy goes for the DDT on the apron, but Matthews counters with a high knee. Cassidy responds with a beach break on the apron. Both roll to the floor. They get back in the ring and exchange shots from their knees as they get up. Matthews hits a number of kicks, though, dropping Cassidy, and then he stands on the injured hand as Cassidy starts yelling some more. Matthews then does the soft kicks, but Cassidy stops and puts his hands up, puts his hands in the pocket, and Matthews just knees him down. But he counters Matthews' next move into a stun dog millionaire, gets to his feet, manages to hit an elbow strike to Matthews on the turnbuckle. They fight back and forth on the turnbuckle, and Cassidy lands an avalanche DDT, but Buddy rolls out But Cassidy hits a tope suicida, gets him back in the ring, hits a diving DDT for a near fall. Cody sets up for the orange punch, but Matthews ducks and hits a jumping knee for two. Cody. Cassidy then hits the orange punch, but Matthews kicks out because it's obvious there's been, as the announcers say, there's so much damage done to that hand that the punch is like at half strength at best. Matthews tells him to hit him again, but then grabs his hand in his own fist and gives him the high knee, and Cassidy taunts him to hit him. He plays possum, but Matthews saw it coming, dodges and hits a curb stomp for two. He then tries the pump handle, but Cassidy locks on the mousetrap, which is basically better known as the Kishi Kasai, for the win. What a match. Wow. What did you think?
Yeah, I said this was gonna give me a match of the night, and it was. I love this match. I bid a couple times. I was like, are they really gonna put the belt on Matthews? Like, this is insane. Matthews is so strong. Holy, when he caught Cassidy off that crossbody, I was like, he didn't even budge. It's like he just caught him, right? And even I'm even saying this match is my number one match, but I know both of these guys have more in them than what I saw. And this match was amazing. So I loved it. They made me bite a couple times. I was like, holy crap. It was like like Cassidy sold that hand to the point where he couldn't beat Matthews with the orange punch, right? He had to roll him up into that the mousetrap or whatever they call
Kishi
it, right?
Kasai, yes.
The mousetrap, and then he pins him that way. And like when you see him roll out, like I love how they go back to Matthews and he's like, this by this much, right? You beat me, which is I think it almost continues a storyline that potentially it could be there eventually. I do like every time I feel like Matthews is in a singles match, he loses. And again, these are issues I have. Again, nitpicking again, right? Every time, like, why do you have my favorite wrestler is just losing? Swerve loses, Matthews loses, right? Like, I'm like, come on.
You're a Leafs fan, dude.
That is true. That is very true. I should be used to this, but I mean, I'm like, all I could think about was, wow, what would Matthews versus Omega be like, right? I'm like, oh my god, that's a match you just need to book. But yeah, no, this match, fantastic. Like both guys are just, they're so good. They're so great at selling. The hits. I love when Cassidy tells him to like hit him, like, and he actually and Matthews runs and just knees him in the face and like. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, my match of the night.
Oh, yeah, and that exchange right after where Matthew or Cassidy does the same thing to Matthews, but then Matthew, like, it's like
catches his hand,
move, counter move, and Matthews actually gets the better of it. I was like, holy crap, that was so well put together, right? Yeah, Cassidy's selling was next level, just next level selling. I loved it, right? And Matthews just playing the like dirty, I'm gonna beat the crap out of you, like, opponent. It was so well put together. I loved this match so much. I mean, you're right, selling the strength on the other side, the storytelling in the match was epic. Even Cassidy sending the best friends out. No, I'm gonna handle this, right? Winning with the Kishi Kasai. I mean, it was so well done.
Yeah, agreed.
And yes. So my number one match of the night, in case it wasn't obvious, this was the 1A to the 1B earlier. We then get a Luchasaurus and Christian video. We have red lights, we have stairs, and Christian says, some things have changed.
Yeah, that was it.
I think he was referring to Luchasaurus's shoulder pad. Because I mean, maybe he's trying to indicate it. Look, he looks like a member of Legion of Doom now.
So that's what I thought as well. When he said it, I'm like, did you say that purposely? Because Luchasaurus walked out in his Legion of Doom gear. Some things have changed. And I'm like, cool. So where is this going? Exactly, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Let's go up. Some things have changed, Krishna. Maybe it's not going anyway. Maybe what they mean by that is they've retired.
Oh, maybe that's fair. That's true.
They didn't explain themselves, so
no, they did not.
And then we get Renee in the back with the best friends, and she says, "You guys have a medical update on Orange Cassidy?" And Orange Cassidy's there with an ice pack on his hand. Trent says his hand's fine. Orange Cassidy defends this belt every week. This is the run of his life. And then Chuck says, And we heard Aussie Open got the IWGP titles. How about you guys fly in Friday and fight us on Rampage? So he throws down the gauntlet to Aussie Open. That was a mistake.
They didn't say that. Bill's just making commentary on this.
That is correct. You just made a giant mistake, Mr. Chuck Taylor.
Yeah, I know. This, again, Forbidden Door is swung right open at this point. Like they're gonna start building soon. I like this. I like the fact that you know that United Empire are coming in and they're gonna be facing the Best Friends. Oh, obviously, Best Friends are gonna lose this match. They're not gonna win the belts.
No
right?
kidding.
Obviously, but I mean, I like this segment. I like the kind. I was like when I saw it, I'm like, okay, so Bill's hyped. This is gonna be Bill's like match that he needs to watch on Rampage now.
Well, that's because Aussie Open is amazing.
Yeah, they are. So it'll be a good match. I still like the fact that Orange Cassidy was selling his hand at the end. In the back, he couldn't even put his hand in for the little thing, and they're like, okay, on 3, and then they just did it, and Renee's like, you guys didn't even count to 3 though. I love the Best Friends. They're so ridiculous. Cool. Yeah, yep. but again, great match set up for Friday.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Obviously,
or later tonight if you're in the arena.
Yes.
Right? So
crowns up, guys. Crowns up. Well, we get Ethan Page in the ring, and Ethan says, listen up. The firm has had a rough patch. And then he recaps what happened last week. And he goes, I've been a mess. I can't tan. My hair is terrible. He goes, but I put gel in my hair and I got here and still look better than all of you. He says, I need answers though. Matt still works for me. So get out here and give me some answers right now. So Isaiah Cassidy and Matt Hardy comes out, and Isaiah Cassidy says, you played yourself. And Matt says, you have to read the fine print. I manipulated you to be my best friend because you're a big hole of the ass. You treated me and Private Party like trash. Want to know what the contract says? And this is where I begin to get confused. So bear with me. Maybe I missed something.
No. You're not confused.
Okay.
Because after he said it, he says 2 things. Are you going to say it?
He says, he goes, if Hook beats you. Yep. He goes, if Hook beats you, Matt Hardy and Private Party are out of the firm.
Yep.
And I get to choose our next match in Stip. And the Stip he chooses is we are no longer under contract to the firm.
Correct.
Okay. I did hear that correctly.
Yes. Yes, you did. Because I stood there and I was like, what? Did you said that you're out of the firm. So how's the stipulation? If you win, you're out of the firm. This doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, Matt, I think you may have messed up the promo somewhere. Anyway, Ethan says, well, there's more to me than there's more than me and Stokely in the firm. And then Big Bill and Lee Moriarty ambush the other guys from behind. The 3 of them beat down Hardy and Cassidy until Hook's music hits. He takes down Moriarty and he drops Page, but he cannot drop Big Bill. So all 3 of them now are getting beaten down by the firm. But then Jeff Hardy's music hits. He runs in with a chair, cleans house, ending with a twist of fate of Moriarty, followed by a nearly perfect swanton bomb. And man, does he look like he's gotten in better shape?
Better shape. You can see the emotion on his face. So Sean Ross Sapp posted on Twitter before Dynamite started, you will not believe who is backstage at AEW today.
Oh,
right. So
that's the wrong thing to say to us, though.
Right. Well, exactly. Obviously. But, Sting shows up and I was like, oh, crap. Sting is in the arena tonight. When Jeff Hardy's music hit, I was like, what? Jeff Hardy's back? And hey, he didn't dance on his way out to the ring. He ran out and he helped. You know what? I am a Jeff Hardy fan just because I know what this guy's gone through and stuff like that. I hope that he is able to finish his run. That was their dream. Like him and Matt, they wanted to have like a run in AEW, and then obviously things happened and that changed. He looks to be in great shape. He looks like he's like, again, it was the emotion on his face. You could tell this is where he wants to be, right?
Yep.
So I was happy to see this. I was happy and I'm like, yeah, I want to see the Hardys reunion. I want to see Hardys and the Hardys and Private Party together. That's a cool faction to have, right? So I mean, like the 2 vets and the 2 young guys whenever Mark Quinn comes back. So yeah, no, I enjoyed the segment, even though I was confused for the first half of it.
Yes. Yeah, I know. I'm not so sure what's going on with that Stip, but I'm sure somewhere along the line it'll either get forgotten and glossed over or someone will reference it as a joke.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I'm so happy to see Jeff Hardy back and looking as good as he did, right? I
Mhm.
mean, I am all for people getting help and then coming back. I mean, look at John Moxley after he went to rehab and look what he's been able to
Yep.
do since, right?
Yep.
Came back in some of the best shape of his career, putting on matches of his career, right? Just amazing, amazing wrestler now, right? Just like so much better than he was before he went to rehab.
Mhm.
I'm really hoping we get the same out of Jeff Hardy. I hope that this
Same.
time,
Same.
this time it sticks and he stays clean.
Same.
And if he does, I will be rooting for him 100%
Yeah.
all the way. You go. And hey, that was a perfect swanton bomb.
Yeah. Yes, it was.
Best one
So,
I've seen him hit in AEW. So I was
mhm.
like, dude, awesome. Because when he went up, I'm like, uh-oh. And then he
Yep.
hits it. And I'm like, damn, good
Looks
job.
good.
Good job, Jeff. So yeah, I'm happy to see him back. And then we get a Blackpool Combat Club video with the Elite. And then we get a message from the god of wrestling, Kenny Omega. And he thanks the fans and he thanks the doctors. Then says, I speak to the Bucks every day, and we promised ourselves this problem that you have with us, BCC, we'll take care of it in the ring. It's commonplace. You want to make a headline. I get it. You want to make an impact. But then you hit Dawn, leaving him concussed in a pool of blood. I take it personally. I know he's not the most likable guy, but he's family. And when you mess with someone's family, that's when you cross a line. So I'd love to say it's blood for blood, but that's music to your ears. So it's not going to be blood for blood. When I see you next, it's going to be much worse. Much, much worse.
Yeah. I saw Kenny Omega and I was like, oh my God, it's Kenny. Um, I love this promo because there's so many things in here, right? The threat to the Blackpool Combat Club, but the fact that he said it made it personal when they attacked Dawn,
Mm-hmm.
right? Dawn's family. I'm like, ooh, so not even the Bucks. It's Dawn that you're most concerned about, right?
Yes.
Regardless, this Blackpool Combat Club thing is going to be settled with the Bucks. Agreed. There's more to this.
Yes.
Don Callis, the Invisible Hand. Like all I can think about in my head is Takeshita and Kota Ibushi. That's
Mm-hmm.
all I can think of. The minute that he said that, I was like, yeah, they are going to be forming a trios. They have to be forming that, right? And I am, no pun intended, all in for that as well, right? Because that's going to be amazing. So I liked it, and I loved how they played the video, making you think Kenny Omega was not in the building.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because
So
right after that, and I'll just say this about that promo, I loved it too. I was
mhm.
like, yes, nice. And then the whole like, it's going to be much worse. I'm like, you don't mess with Kenny Omega.
Mhm.
So, yep. Blackpool Combat Club, John Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli taking on the Elites, even though they announced them as friends of the Elite. The Elites, Brandon Cutler and Michael Nakazawa. We both said this would be our number 3 match of the night. The Blackpool Combat Club, though, jumps them on the entrance, of course, and the beatdown begins. Mox lays into Cutler with a chair. Castagnoli drives Knack's head into the apron over and over and over and over and over and over. I mean, it was just bam, 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 until his head is busted open. The bell finally rings. I mean, both Cutler and Knack are
Mhm.
bleeding
Yeah.
from the head. Castagnoli pounds on Knack in the ring. The crowd is chanting for Knack, who lays into Castagnoli with forearms until Claudio lariats him down and gives him the giant swing, pulling off his shoes. He puts on the sharpshooter, but Cutler tries to punch him off. Castagnoli no sells, tosses Cutler out of the ring. Knack reverses Castagnoli's pile driver attempt and tags out. Cutler tries to hit Mox, but Mox beats the hell out of his head. Cutler gets in a couple shots, but Mox drops him, hits the Death Rider, locks in the Bulldog. Knack breaks it up, though, as Mox stomps Cutler's head in, and the ref tosses the match out. Yuta then joins in, beating on them, and I'll get to the rest after that. What'd you think of the actual match itself?
Well, I mean, again, I guess this was a match. They rang the bell,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, I didn't hate it, right? But again, like if you're speaking about the match itself, I mean, okay, so maybe I gave number 6 spot to Hobbs. So like it was just squashing. It's a squash match, right? That's all I saw. So like the match itself, like I was giving it more points based on what the aftermath, but just from judging by the match itself, it's like really Knack and Cutler had nothing because they were attacked so fast, so quickly, right? So I mean, I'm gonna uh slot it in as the number 5. I don't really like, I didn't care for the match itself. I just cared about the aftermath. And the problem is that because I was caring about the aftermath so much, I was like, oh, this is a number 3 match. But I'm like, oh, the match itself was okay. Right. So
Yep.
yeah.
Well, remember I slotted in Hobbs in the squash match at number 5.
Yeah.
This match, number 4.
Ooh, okay.
There is still a
I'm
worse
still
match to
curious.
go.
Yeah. Okay, okay.
The yeah, this I didn't hate this
Yeah.
because Knack and Cutler were both beaten up, but they kept trying. I mean, it wasn't just a complete and utter total, like they just completely
Yeah.
wrecked him. Cutler got some shots in a Mox, staggered him with some close. Like Knack was great.
Mhm.
Nakazawa, I mean, he came back fired up, landed a bunch of chops and stuff. He actually looked like he had some offense at a
Mhm.
couple points. I was just like, okay, for who these guys are and where they are in AEW and what they're trying to do, I'm like, they're showing heart.
Yeah.
Right. And I
Agreed.
thought the story in this match is what carried it to at least maintain the number 4 slot, was just simply the story.
Yeah,
Right.
fair enough.
Did we get the world's greatest wrestling in this match? No. But
No.
I was interested in how it was going to roll out, even within the context of the match. So yeah, it wasn't what I thought. And at that point, Yuta joins them in the ring. Mox gets a mic and he starts yelling, "Where's the Young Bucks? Where's the Cowboy? Where's Callis?" I'll
Mhm.
tell you where they are. They're at the hospital. They have glass jaws and glass egos. They're bickering babies. We put the elite in all elite wrestling.
Mhm.
And then Battle Cry hits. And I just sit there staring at the screen going, holy crap. And Kenny Omega comes out and he's looking at them, and there's a long delay. He's just milking this. And I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
who's coming out with him?
Yep.
And I was almost disappointed when it was the Bucks jumping the Blackpool Combat Club in the ring. And the brawl starts. They give the BTE trigger to Mox. Omega gets a gear case, but Matt stops Kenny and then just hands him a screwdriver.
Yeah.
Mox is yelling at them to bring it on, but then Claudio pulls them out of the ring. They flee into the crowd and they start throwing stuff at
Yep.
the elite. They throw like the guardrail pad at them, which Matt catches, and they're throwing like beverages from fans at them. I'm like, this is cool, man. These guys are good. It's like good
I
stuff.
like
So
I
yeah, that
like
was the end of that segment.
Nick I like Nick Jackson's reaction when they're throwing stuff. He's like, "Guy, what are you doing? What are you doing?" Right? But no, like this was awesome. This segment was so cool. Like when Battle Cry hit, I'm like, holy crap, you guys had me again. I thought Kenny
Mm-hmm.
was not showing up today because
Yep.
again, as I said, I thought Hangman was gonna come out, then the Bucks are gonna help him. That's what I called. Nope, the Elite showed up tonight, right? The Elite took out the Blackpool Combat Club, but again, a Brian Danielson less Blackpool Combat Club. So
Yes.
you know, that's interesting storylines. Again, there are more things happening,
Indeed.
way more things happening here, right? Because even that's like the screwdriver. Yeah, they're paying homage obviously to the fact that Hangman got the screwdriver. Was it Hangman who got the screwdriver, or was it
Yeah, it
Kenny?
was
It was
Hangman. He
Hangman.
got
Hangman.
screwdrivered in the
Yeah,
face.
yeah. But
in,
again,
in, in, in the worst blood ever, because like they never showed it. He just
yeah,
had blood. And they never
but
really showed what happened. Poor
yeah,
guy.
and then you see Kenny kind of be again, because we don't know if Kenny and Hangman are cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Kenneth, all I have to say is Kenneth has left the chat, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, no, this segment was fantastic. We hear a battle cry, they then switch to
Carry on,
"Carry My
Wayward
Wayward
Son.
Son,"
I was like,
which
oh,
yeah, which is kind of like, to me, honestly, I love that song,
oh yeah,
but a bit played out now, right? So,
yeah. It is, and I just guys, can we just play Battle Cry when Kenny's around? Like
yep,
that's all I want. Just Battle Cry. That's it. Battle
yep,
Cry. Then we get Tony Schiavone in the back, not Tony Storm. Tony Schiavone in the back with Mogul Embassy. And Tony Schiavone says, "You're angry." Nana says, "No, we're not." And then Swerve says, "I created Darby." We're not even at full strength yet. We're going to leave with something. Hoodies up. And they leave. Hoodies up.
Well, you know what? You say crowns up all the time, Bill. So maybe
Yeah,
hoodies
but
up is the
that's
next step.
that's cool. Swerve wasn't
Hoodies,
even wearing a hoodie,
hoodies up,
nor
hoodies
was
up.
Prince Nana, nor was Brian Cage. I'm just
Hoodies
saying
up.
none of them were wearing
Listen,
hoodies.
listen. Do the United Empire do they wear crowns?
No, but they do the crown logo.
Will should wear a
I
crown.
did not see them do a hoodie logo. Did they have a hoodie logo? Did they go
Maybe
hoodies
like
up and
a
then they all
maybe
did their
like
hand
a they do
sign?
like a hoodie
No.
hoodies up sign.
Yeah, they just
Um,
cup their
but
hands over their
then
head.
I guess Dante Martin and I forget his brother's name, Darius would run out and say copyright infringements. That's our
Hoodie. So Dante and Darius are forced then to start saying hoodies up every
hoodies
time
up.
they do it.
Again, this is what I mean. So many confusing segments with Swerve. I'm like, okay, sure. And then obviously I knew what was gonna
Yeah,
happen, but I'm like, all
right.
right, whatever.
Well, I'm just waiting now for the hoodies up t-shirt, right?
Hoodies up.
Hoodies up. That's right, because he is the same guy who was like Swerve in Our Glory.
That's
And
right.
that became the name of their tag team.
That's right.
So yeah, hoodies up. Ah, well, then we get Riho and Skye Blue taking on the Outcasts, Ruby Soho and Toni Storm. We both said this would be our number 4 match. Well, the Outcasts jump Riho and Blue. Storm chops Skye, but she hits a Hurricane Run and Enzugiri. They both tag. Ruby gets the advantage with a kick, but Riho bridges out of the pin, kicks her, and they double drop kick Ruby. Riho then hits an assisted diving crossbody to the outside on both women. She goes to tag Skye, but Saraya pulls her to the floor. Ruby takes her down off the distraction, and the Outcasts work over Riho in their corner. Storm hits a snap suplex while Ruby pounds her head on the turnbuckle. She goes for a destination unknown, but Riho rolls her up for 2, then makes the tag. Skye hits a leaping knee, but Storm makes a blind tag. Storm drops her with a boot. She goes for a hip attack against the ropes, but Skye dodges and then kicks Ruby off the apron before landing a Hurricane Rana to the floor on Storm. She rolls Storm back in the ring, hits a diving crossbody, but Ruby breaks it up with a backdrop driver. Riho comes in and hits a Cazadora stomp to Ruby. Skye and Ruby hit a combined kick crucifix. Oh, sorry. Skye and Riho hit a combined kick crucifix bomb to Ruby, but Storm nails Skye in the corner after that, hits the hip attack and the let's have a seat for the 3 count. What'd you think of the match?
I left this like okay. I didn't mind this match. I really didn't. I thought it was good. I thought it's lasted in my number 4 spot, right? I just left it there. I thought that my problem is with after the match, like again, as I said, I don't know what's happening. Because the same thing over and over again. The match itself, again, Riho is great. As I said, Skye's getting better. Toni Storm doesn't look like garbage. I mean, that's great, right? I mean, it was worse when she first started here, and we know Ruby is pretty good. So I didn't hate this match. I didn't mind this match. I just didn't, and we'll get to it after, but I just don't understand what's happening.
Yeah, I enjoyed the match. I mean, I thought it was put together well. The interference was minimal enough from Saraya that it kept the match going. I thought Riho and Skye both did well. Riho was great. I mean,
Yep.
Skye had a good showing. I thought
Yeah.
she did quite well in this match. Everything looked pretty decently timed. I mean, she's got to work on her speed and a bit of crispness, but I mean,
Mhm.
she looked good. And
Yeah.
like her Hurricane Run to the floor looked fine. I mean, she's good.
Yeah.
Toni Storm looked completely fine, except again the let's have a seat. It's worst
Yeah.
pile
Let's
driver
have
in
a seat.
wrestling, and I will keep calling it that till she starts using a different finishing move. But other than that, no, her hip attack is one of the most vicious hip attacks in wrestling. So,
It really is.
yep. And Ruby Soho, she's like you said, she's quite good. So no, I enjoyed the match quite a bit. So it's why it slid into my number 3 spot.
Oh, okay, okay.
Now you can figure out where the number 6 match is coming from.
Yep.
Well, the Outcasts then go get some spray paint, and they're going to spray paint Skye. Riho tries to help, but she gets beaten too. So they spray paint a big green L on Riho, and then they hit the Shield power bomb on her, but it's kind of a weak version of the Shield power bomb. Then after they've already done the beatdown and the spray paint, Jamie Hayter's music
Yep.
hits and she runs down, but she's greeted by stomps and she's getting beaten up. So then Britt decides to come out at that point and brawls with Saraya after dropping both Storm and Soho. So she goes for the curb stomp, but the Outcasts pull Saraya out of the ring.
Yeah, again, and next week they're set up for a tag match. This storyline is going nowhere. It's the same thing. It's a circle. I feel like Vince McMahon is booking the women's division here. They're just having the same match every like week in, week out. There's nothing changing, and it's the same feud that's going on. And there's like no one else, no other female wrestlers in AEW apparently, right?
Yes.
So I'm like,
where was Willow
care for this.
Nightingale?
I don't know.
Whatever happened to Hikaru Shida?
She must be wrestling in Japan somewhere.
I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna have to check that out because I'm really curious as to what happened to Hikaru Shida because she was part of this feud and then just vanished into smoke and nothing has been said about her. This whole end segment to me made the Outcasts look like freaking idiots.
Yep.
Okay, so they take down them. They have numbers. They take down Skye. They take down Riho. They spray paint Riho. Jamie Hayter, the women's world champion, runs to the ring, and the three of them wait for her to get in the ring, stomp the living hell out of her, and beat her down. So when Britt Baker comes out, all of a sudden, all three of them decide to be absolute wingnuts, and they go out one at a time to run at Britt. I don't understand why they would suddenly change their strategy. It makes no sense to me. They just look like colossal morons.
Yep, I agree with that.
I'm like, so let me get this straight. The women's world champion couldn't take you guys on, but her partner can and beat all three of you.
Yep.
This makes no sense to me. I realize they're setting up Britsburg next week, but couldn't they have found like a better way to do it? Like Britt and Jamie running out together instead of like, what, were Jamie and Britt nowhere near each other in the back? Like, were they like, do they not talk? Was one in catering, the other was somewhere else, and they decided separately they needed to go help out? Like, I don't understand how this whole thing went together. Like, why would they run out separately?
I don't know.
Why wouldn't Jamie be like, Britt, we need to get out there? And that would also explain why Jamie took 3,000 years to get to the ring. Like, it's after they've already didn't interrupt them. Let them finish their business with Riho and Skye. Then they come to and how many times are they going to spray paint the same people?
That's what I said. It's the same thing happening over and over again.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me at this point. I mean, like that whole ending made no sense. Match was fine. That end segment, I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Fair.
It's just the same. Like, you're right. It's like Groundhog Day. It's the same stuff every week, over and over and over. At one point, we were calling this the best plot going on in AEW right now. I do not think so anymore.
Nope.
Though I may hold a leg up on Swerve and Keith Lee. I'm just saying, but we'll get to that.
Well, it's because they forgot about that, right?
Did they? Well, we then go to our main event. Chris Jericho taking on Keith Lee. We already know we're out of numbers, so we know where this is on my list. Lee no-sells Jericho's chops and takes him down, then kisses him on the head. And that's the story. Lee dominating with strength. Early hits some chops, elbows, avalanches, slams until Garcia distracts him on the turnbuckle. Jericho then hits a springboard dropkick to Lee on the apron, sending him to the floor. Garcia helps beat him down outside. Back in the ring, Jericho hits the diving double sledge. He nails Lee with a knee to the neck and keeps working him over with punches. He gets him up, chops him. Lee tries to reverse, but Jericho hits a missile drop kick and a lion salt for two. Lee then hits a lariat and a shoulder block, but Garcia then grabs his leg. Jericho goes for a lariat, but Lee gives him a bear hug. Jericho fights out and Lee hits a lariat. He lifts Jericho up for a power bomb, but Jericho rolls him up for two. Jericho tries to lariat him and hurts his arm, so Lee shoulder tackles him. Lee goes for a second rope moonsault, but eats knees. But Jericho hurts his knee, blocking him because Lee is big. Lee choke slams him for two. He goes for the power bomb again, but Jericho gouges his eyes, locks on the walls of Jericho, which we know he always wins matches with. Lee reaches the ropes and tosses Jericho across the ring. He lifts Jericho up, but Jericho grabs Aubrey. Garcia tries to interfere, but Lee throws him in. And he hits both guys with, you guessed it, lariats. But Jericho dodges the avalanche and goes for a code breaker. But as with all the other moves, Lee is too big and too powerful. He catches him, puts him into a power bomb. Garcia distracts the ref again, and Swerve runs in. And Lee, being pulled over to the apron, gets nailed in the head with a case. Jericho then covers Lee for 3 in the most epic main event in AEW history. And that, people, is called sarcasm. Krishna, what'd you think of this match?
Listen, Bill. I think why you didn't like this match and why I loved it so much. We didn't know who that guy who hit Keith was. What are you talking about? It could have been anybody. That could have been Brian Cage.
I didn't look at all like Swerve.
Brian Cage, right? I didn't hate this match as much as you did. And I'm not gonna say you hated this match. You probably just thought it was kind of nothing, right? I more or less was kind of like, I like Jericho. Well, I really like Jericho, and I like Keith Lee, but Keith Lee in this match to me didn't do as much as he could have. Right? It kind of felt like he's wrestling a little bit slow. Right? That's what I felt through the entire match. But you know what? I'm gonna tell you why I left it in my number 3 or number 4 spot. I can't remember anymore. Because I was having such a great time with Daniel Garcia outside. Like, I think Daniel Garcia outside, like, I was thinking in my head, I'm like, when people, like wrestlers especially, find their character, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not saying that the Red Death was a terrible character. Kind of boring. Like, putting Daniel Garcia with Chris Jericho was the best thing that ever happened to Daniel Garcia. Like, his distractions, everything. I was laughing. So I was just at Daniel Garcia. Maybe I wasn't paying attention to the match because I was laughing at Daniel Garcia so much, right? It's like, I don't know if it's Jericho or even if it's Sammy guiding this guy, but his character has gone 180 for me. I absolutely love this guy, right? So and that's my bias there. I was having so much fun with Daniel Garcia that I didn't pay enough attention to the match itself, which I agree with you. It's kind of slow, right? So like I can see where it was like, yeah, maybe this match kind of sucked, but my thing is like, why was this match the main event? That's my I'm like, why was this? Even if you stuck it in at the 9:30 death spot or you put it at 9 or whatever, why was this match the main event? I'm confused here right now.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason for my ranking. Yeah. You fed me this as your main event, Krishna. I was bored. You know what? Oh, you are absolutely right. Daniel Garcia was the most entertaining part of this entire match. Man, when he grabbed Keith Lee's leg and then Aubrey turned towards him, he's like, "I didn't touch him. I wasn't touching him. What are you talking about? I was nowhere near it."
Keith Lee goes up on the rope. He goes up on the top rope, and Daniel Garcia, to distract him, starts dancing.
So good. See, Daniel Garcia was entertaining, but it wasn't entertaining enough to save the match that was in the ring. It was slow. It was ponderous. It was the same moves over. And they're like, hey, I am all for a good chop fest when you've got like Tomohiro Ishii in the ring or someone like that, where it becomes the story. These guys didn't make it the story. And look, I know Jericho can tell a better story than
yes, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
So I was like, this is supposed to be the main event, and I'm bored. I'm like, look, guys, I've sat through 2 hours and 45 minutes of or one at 2 hours. This is not Raw. See, look, it made me feel like I was watching Raw. 1 hour and 45 minutes of like good show, right? And then I have to watch this. And I was like, can I just go like start recording the podcast now or something? Because this is nothing. It's just, okay, we get it. Keith Lee's big. Chris Jericho's not strong enough to take him on. And then Swerve hits him in the head, and we get a interference pin. I thought for a minute Keith Lee would kick out of that move, but he didn't. Same. Jericho pins him for 3.
I sometimes feel like AEW, they don't realize who their biggest draws are, right? Mm-hmm. Listen, I love Adam Cole. I really do. Right. I gave him match of the week a couple weeks ago when he's returned his match that he returned and hasn't wrestled since. And I love Swerve Strickland. I've gone on record. I've tweeted at Swerve saying that he is on the Omega level, right? Mm-hmm. And he liked the tweet, just FYI. But you have the Elite. Why would you not end the show, even though it was a beatdown by the Blackpool Combat Club? Why would you not end the show with the return of the Elite so Kenny Omega can send the fans home happy? Right? Even though I
Yeah.
know they're switching to Rampage or whatever. You ended it with this. It was such a flat ending. Even though Adam Cole comes out and he mimics what Jericho did.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
Yeah, exactly. That's I
Great.
had mentioned Adam Cole comes out at the end and does
Yeah.
exactly what you just said.
Yeah, just mimics. He does a slight look, walks more, slight look. And
Mhm.
I'm like,
With
okay.
Keith Lee, clearly his best buddy now.
So you're saying that, and as what on Twitter, someone tweeted, "Wow, Adam Cole and Keith Lee have come far," and it shows like Keith Lee throwing Adam Cole into like the barricades. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, AEW, I get it. I get it. Adam Cole is an easy guy to sell as a baby face, but you have your big baby faces in the elites already.
Mhm.
Why not close the show with that?
Yep.
Why not do that? You end the show with the elite in the ring, the Blackpool Combat Club in the audience. Why wouldn't you close it like that?
Mhm.
I don't. I
Exactly.
just don't get it.
Throwing garbage from the audience. Yeah.
Yes, why not?
And that'll give it that authentic end of a WCW
Yeah,
main event
exactly. I
show.
was gonna say
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. The garbage flying into the ring because the main event sucked.
Yeah, I don't know. Yep, I can
Yep.
see. I can
Although
see
if
why
you
you
put the elite in,
label
it
it number
wouldn't.
6.
Yeah. I just look and I didn't hate
Yeah,
the match. I want to make that very clear. This
yeah.
was not a terrible wrestling match. This wrestling match was very mid.
This wrestling match was WWE esque. This would be a WWE match, like
Yeah, and it's just
by the
it
numbers.
was slow,
Mhm.
it was ponderous, it was, and I don't mind like matches where you get two big guys who are going to block each other and stuff. I'm good with that. Or a big guy versus little guy match. We've seen a lot of them, like
Mhm.
Brian Cage taking on Darby Allin.
Yeah,
We've seen big guy little guy matches that are freaking awesome. Um, this was not one of them.
no,
This
I
was
agree.
two very slow people. And I told you it's a battle over Grecian formula, okay? They moved about as fast as I would in a ring, which is
It,
kind of sad.
and we know this is not Jericho. We know it's not Jericho. Jericho is better than this, and
Yes.
Lee's better than this too. So I
Yes.
don't. I don't understand. Maybe the
They're
match
they're
was just
both substantially better than
yeah.
this. It was
So
very, and that's another reason why I'm going to stick it in number 6 because I know
you know it. Yeah,
both these guys
fair
can do
enough.
better. Hey, sometimes you just got an opponent that you just don't have the chemistry with for whatever reason. I don't know.
Maybe,
But
maybe.
thank you, Daniel Garcia, for making me laugh during this match that I
So
was
good.
bored watching.
He's so good.
Well, that was AEW Dynamite. Did anything on this show reach the Omega level?
Hmm. Interesting. Interesting. So I thought the first two matches were absolutely amazing, but I don't know if I would consider like there were spots in those matches that made me think, oh my god, that's Omega level. Like the
Mm-hmm.
again the Poison Rana and just like Buddy Matthews, like me biting, thinking that he was gonna
Mm-hmm.
win. Um, but I don't know. I don't think I would give anything Omega level
Not
status.
Wardlow versus the car with the forklift.
Oh, I
You
forgot.
sure? You
Sorry.
sure?
I take it back. Omega level goes to the forklift.
Oh yeah, the forklift did a good job tonight. The inanimate carbon rod. Oh, Simpsons references again for those of you under the age of 30. So yeah, I'd have to agree with you. Nothing there's only one moment on this whole show that I'm gonna call Omega level, and that was when Battle Cry hit and
Yeah,
Kenny Omega came on the
agreed.
stage. So Omega level goes to Kenny Omega being on the stage.
Kenny Omega. Well, he's
I
got
mean, it's
to go by his name, right? I mean, that's his name.
yeah,
So,
it was an Omega level entrance. It was
oh
just
yeah,
yeah. So I mean, I didn't expect Battle Cry. When Battle Cry hit, I was like, holy crap. It gave me that moment where I was just like, oh my God, what's happening? Oh my God. To me, that was Omega level. But
yep.
That was the only thing on the show, because even then when the Bucks came out, I was just mildly disappointed. I was like, someone else, someone, no, it's the Bucks. Darn, they're still staying with the Bucks.
Someone else.
Someone,
Someone
I love you, Bucks.
else.
I love you, but I wanted something else to happen.
Yeah, like, well, because we know what's coming. That's the problem. We know
Yes,
what's happening.
I
We're
know.
just we're impatient.
Yes,
That's what
we
it
are. We're
is.
trying to force stories quickly
Yeah. We
because
are
we want to
impatient.
see people. And AEW, as we know, will take their damn sweet time with their storylines. They've taken long-term building to new
Oh
levels in
yeah.
AEW. So, yep, long-term booking could mean, well, 2 years from now, maybe they'll have their feud-ending match.
Oh my god, yep.
Swerve and Keith still going at it. Anyway, and apparently what is qualifying as a main event program. Anyway,
No.
though that does bring us to the end of this episode and the end of Dynamite. And as the great one always says, goodbye, everybody. Mwah, and good night. Bang.
Good night, everyone.